Well, hey, it's been so exciting developing our launch team, and we're moving into the launch team deployment phase in May. And I just want to take a moment and use this fancy whiteboard to tell you how what we're doing now in this development phase will translate into what we'll do in the development phase starting in May. And so, thinking about what we do right now, we started in January and we'll go in April, and we've had large gatherings that we've called Vision Nights. Now, at these Vision Nights, we've been gathering to dream about what it would look like to connect people to God's next step for their life. We've talked about the four main steps that we have identified that we want to help people to grow through. First one is getting to know you and coming to faith in Jesus. The second one is helping those people that have believed in Jesus to grow in their faith and get connected into groups. The third one is serving and discovering your gifts and abilities and getting plugged into opportunities to serve. And the fourth one, which we'll talk about at this coming Vision Night, is developing your leadership abilities and getting involved in replacing yourself, bringing other people along through that process, and we'll talk about that more in the month of April. And so these Vision Nights, we've been dreaming about that and how we can best do that. In May, when we move into this new phase of launch team deployment phase, Vision Nights will become large gatherings. Now, hopefully, these large gatherings will happen on Sunday morning, and they will be once a month. Right now, Vision Nights will happen at night. Our large gatherings will hopefully happen Sunday mornings when we find a location to host those, hopefully the first Sunday of the month. And so you can be praying about we find that right location for us. And there you could also think about these as launch team practice services. When we launch to the community in August and September, we want to make sure we know what we're doing and do the best job we can do in putting on a Sunday morning's church service. And so that these will be, in some ways, practice services. So, as you know, the next step after a Vision Night is what we've been calling vision groups. And we've been having maybe 2-3 vision groups depending on what Sunday people are able to go. And so you have the Vision Night on the first Sunday of the month, and then we'll have a vision group on the following Sundays. Now, these vision groups model in a small way what these next steps that we're inviting people to connect with us on in our Vision Nights are. So when we talk about getting to know you, well, we talk about that at our Vision Nights, and we actually do it in these vision groups. We talk about how we can help you grow in your faith, and then we want to model what that looks like in our group environment. We talk about how we can discover and develop our spiritual gifts, and we talk about how we do that in our group environment. And so we've been doing that, and these, come May, will come over to, after a large gathering, there will be a First Steps group, which will meet as needed, and this will happen for people that are new, that be a part of the church in May on, and it'll happen as needed so we can get to know those that are engaging with us that are new. And so in the future, when we have Sunday morning services, like in September, when we have our first preview service, we will have our large gathering, and then directly after the preview service, we'll have our First Steps. But from May until then, we'll just have it as an as-needed basis. So new in May, completely new. I mean, we've been modeling it, we've been talking about it, we've been casting vision for it, but we haven't started it yet. New in May is our small groups ministry. Now, what our small groups ministry will do is they will do the ministry of the church. We want to be the church. And so these groups will do life together. We've been talking about the main 3 things that they'll do is pray for one another and for those that are in the group, but also those that are not in the group. We will care for one another, care for each other in the group, and care for those that are not in the group, not in a church, and we will share Jesus with those people who are not in the church, unchurched, dechurched, far from God, and share Jesus with one another. And so our groups will pray, care, and share. And do this in a multiplying ministry of care for one another and reaching out to those around us, our friends, our neighbors, our people that live down the street, people that we work with. And so our groups will do that, and they'll have a different rhythm. We'll have Bible study, we'll have community hangouts, we'll have service projects, we'll meet in different growth groups like just men and just women, and we'll be creative with that. And so, come May, we want to invite people to come to our large gatherings once a month as we get ready for launching preview services. We'll invite people to come to our small groups, which will meet weekly. This is the big focus from May until August and really into the future, but for May, this really becomes the focus. And then, of course, don't want to forget about the importance of these first steps, next steps, discipleship pathway environments that we want to create, because when someone comes to a large gathering, we want to get them into a group, but oftentimes this step is so difficult, it's so far. And so we've developed or discovered this idea of we want to invite people to this first steps group, and from there we'll go to 3 and we'll go to 4. From first step, we'll help people grow and get connected into groups. At step 3, we want to discover and develop your gifts, and we want to help people get into serving wherever that may be. And then 4 is all about leadership and replacing yourself, saying, okay, I'm here now. It's never-ending process of following Jesus and reaching out to others. And so I'm going to go back and circle through all these steps again with somebody that is new to the church. Maybe I'm going to circle back and go to first steps with my coworker from work that I've met, that I've gotten to know, and I'm inviting them to come to this environment to ask questions about faith and explore what faith in Jesus is all about. Maybe there's somebody that you know that is wanting to start a campus Bible study, and I just don't know what to do or how to move forward with that. And you're like, well, hey, let me get you on this track, and let me invite you maybe to come to this leadership one as we talk about how we can replace ourselves in the ministry that you're a part of, or invite them to this third one where they can continue to discover their gifts and to get them plugged into serving. And so we're looking forward to May and all the things that you can be involved in. This launch team development process has been really exciting. The vision nights have been great. The groups have been great. And that's how it translates into May. We'll have these large gatherings. We'll have these first steps, these next steps pathway, still working in a little bit different way, and the focus will be on these groups. And so I invite you to get involved and just continue to see how it's all going to come together in the launch of Connect Us Church.